What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Meet the Critters. So we are going to do an extra episode. We're gonna call these ones out in the backwoods because they're really not going to have a lot of actual meat and breed content. We might get into it at some point, but we're just kind of hanging out, messing around, and see what happens. We're here with Josh, the Renegade Butcher from the Renegade Butcher
What's
podcast.
up?
I'm sure the majority of people watching this know him and know that I've been on his show about, what is it, like 6 or 7 times at this point?
It's been a few times, yeah, about a
It's
half
been a
dozen.
few,
I quit
but
counting.
yeah. But for those who don't know you, give us a little wrap up on Josh.
Yeah, no. So I'm Josh, Renegade Butcher. I grew up in the Midwest. Did not grow up butchering at all, and ended up about 9 years ago now. Damn, making my way down to Texas. Got on some property, took a side job doing some butcher work, and just kind of blew up from there. Became a thing for me, and I've been on that whole path since then. I've gone from just literally being the deer bitch, helping unload stuff from back of people's cars and packaging sausage to all the way up to full scale USDA slaughter. Ran the slaughter program in a small processor, full, whole animal breakdowns, value added stuff, sausage, hams, bacon, you name it, the whole shebang. Walking them off the trailer and sending them out in backpack bags from start to finish, and then migrated out from there to doing my own thing, going around doing a little bit of mobile processing, focusing more now on just educating people how to learn to do it at home, doing some seasoning marketing and stuff like that too. So it's always an ever evolving journey for me, but hopefully all this fun stuff that I never expected to learn, I can kind of pass it on to some people. So
Yeah. For those who don't know, Josh is the guru of podcasting and YouTube, at least for me.
I am not the
You got-
guru of podcasting, trust me.
You get
I
about
haven't even
6
been
texts
doing
from me
it
a
for a
day going,
year.
what the hell do I do?
I know how to get started. Then
Right.
when we get past the getting started part, I'll let you know when I figure that out. But
Right. I know. And
well, James said he came first
Yes,
over
he
here,
did.
and then he
Not
asked,
shocking,
when
James.
did you grow up? When did I grow up, or when did Kyle grow up? Because I don't know. I hope I never really grow up.
Yeah, I'm not there.
Kyle's a little behind me from there yet, still. So
Right.
you young whippersnappers.
Right. I mean, I wake up with back pain every morning, if that counts.
That's because you do dumb shit that you don't
Also
necessarily
true.
have to do.
Also true. Right. But
Didn't
yeah,
you throw
no,
your back
so
out the other day for like what, picking up like a piece of a 2x4?
pretty much they were getting ready to start working on the shop and putting the pad and everything, and I just had to like clear everything that was behind it. So I have a 7x5 smokehouse that's like probably 9 feet tall, but I put it on a snowmobile trailer so I can move it around the property and I don't get taxed on the structure. So it's smart. But I was picking it up to put it on the hitch, but I had like a cinder block in the back, so I was like trying to figure out the height so I didn't like completely tip it all the way up, but could get it on the hitch. And I was screwing around with that, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just take this 2x4 and put it under there. And I went down and just picked it up, and for the next 45 minutes, I was on the ground in the fetal position in the house with my kids crawling all over me, like writhing in pain. So that was real fun. But I ended up having to
Sounds
do a
about
3-hour
right. You weren't,
round trip to my chiropractor.
you weren't actually trying to pick up the hitch at that point?
No.
You were
I had
just
no-
picking up the board.
No strength, like nothing on the hitch at all. I was literally leaning down to pick up the wood, and it was just pop. And I guess it was my sacrum. I was like hoping it wasn't a disc or something like that. But
Here
yeah,
I am.
I'm still waking up in the morning like, oh, but I'm going to see my chiropractor again tomorrow. So I've seen her 2 other times since.
Yeah, it's hell getting old, man. You
That
hit
was
over that
not
triple
mom
decade.
tested. That was not mom tested.
No.
No,
If mom had picked it up, she probably wouldn't have thrown her back out.
no, probably not. No. But yeah, so I wasn't happy about that. But we're getting over it now.
No.
But
You're over that hump, though, dude.
we're fucking getting there. Thank God. But yeah, no, like I was talking to somebody today and I was telling them about the YouTube channel and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And they're like, how long have you had it? And I was like, I think it's been like 2 weeks. I'm like, this feels like the longest 2 weeks of my life.
Yeah, it goes quick.
It's crazy. But even
You've
my
done a
wife's
lot.
like,
You've done a lot in a couple of weeks. You've put up a lot of videos, and yeah, People
I know. I
like
told
this
my
shit.
wife I was gonna be doing a podcast tonight. And she's like, when are you getting paid for these? I'm like, probably never.
Right. It's like, yeah, there are ways to make money doing it, but
There is.
yeah, you're not there yet. Don't even think about it. Hell, I'm
not
not.
even close. Not even close.
I can tell you right now, I think in the whole time of me doing all the podcast stuff, and that's rolling in all the other content stuff, the YouTubes, the other crap, all the other fucking posting and shit that I do, the Amazon affiliate stuff from when I recommend shit to people. If I added all of it up, I might have maybe made 40, $50 in a year.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but there are some people that make a good living doing this stuff, but I don't do it. I don't do this for the money. I hope one day maybe it could become a part of my income, but I'm not there yet. And I would do it either way. That's the thing. I would do it either way. Now, do I need to make money? Fuck yes, I need to make money. So when I'm doing my podcast stuff, I will tell you about the ways that you can help. You can pay me and buy my shit, but it's not a money making funnel for me in any way. It's just it's a way for me to get the shit out there because more people need to know this stuff. You know,
right? Well, my thought on it
is never to die with me. You know,
I've talked to people that do, and I was talking to my wife about it, and it's like, I hope the channel takes off. Like that would be fantastic, but.
Yes, Canadian Farmstead. That's totally what it is. Thanks for putting the cat. I didn't want to mention my OnlyFans on Kyle's show, but if you'd like to subscribe to my OnlyFans, you can find me over there at Sirloin. No, I don't actually have an OnlyFans. They'll keep badgering me. I'm going to have to make one and just post stupid memes.
Yeah. Well, and that's actually Gingerbread Farms kind of nailed it. He said he hasn't been posting stuff in a couple weeks because not posting it and get him in trouble. That's because I was talking to my wife about it, where it's like I put up a slaughter video this week, and I thought it was edited somewhat tastefully, where it was like you didn't really see anything awful, like but like it's still a slaughter video, and I know they've cracked down on a lot of that stuff.
It depends on the platform. It depends on how you portray it. Yeah, it can be kind of hinky when it comes to stuff like that. I quit worrying about it.
I get it. I completely understand it. But it's like every video I put out, I make sure that it's like, no, this isn't for kids. Like, could a kid watch it?
And yeah, that's the other thing. As long as you're selecting it's not for kids. Yeah.
Yeah. But
exactly.
Yes.
Meat is murder. Delicious murder. Now, I've got into this debate with people before. This is fun. If you actually look at the definition of the word murder, because, well, of course, we want to change definitions now. So I'm sure somebody will say it's murder. But murder specifically means killing another human being with intention. You're not a human being. It's killing. There's no.
Well, let me tell you what. I intend to kill that cow, but it's not human, so it's not murder.
But it's not a human, right? Exactly.
Stop.
Now, what's not clear to me, though? What's not clear to me is if a cow kills you with intention, is that murder? I don't know. I'm not a philosophist.
No, I think that's karma. That's just human karma. That's not even like karma on you. That's just karma on like the human race. Like, all right,
possibly.
Like. We kill so many of them a day. They can take one. Like, they're deserved.
Exactly.
I don't feel bad at all when people die from animals, especially because the majority of the time they were doing something stupid. Like, I'm talking about somebody that, like, goes up to a wild bison and tries to, like, pet it. I'm not talking about, like, that kid that got eaten at Disneyland by an alligator. Right. That's awful.
I can tell you right now that no, I have stared death in the face more than one time, And it was always a bovine that was at the. Oh, there's a couple of pigs that have scared me.
No,
there have been a couple of pigs that have made me question if this is my last moment. I've been that close to being just snapped in half by an angry steer before, though. So.
Oh yeah, man.
And I swear, every Brahmin I've ever had to deal with has wanted to kill me.
Yeah.
Even a 5-month-old.
You just have those animals. Like, yeah, you just have those animals that it's just like, oh no.
There are some that have the temperament.
And you better pray that you got that in one shot. Because if you don't, now you have something that wants to kill you with a bullet in its head.
Well, the one that really wanted to kill me was just fucking crazy. Like, I was wrong in the head. I mean, it was crazy the whole time it was there.
Yeah.
We were trying to work it up a chute, and it got turned around in the chute. And it slipped. It was smart enough to step back as I swung a gate forward, trying to shoo it. And it stepped past the gate and let the gate swing. And then it was me and it standing there. And I took off down the hall towards the chute, towards where they back trailers up. And I'm running and I'm been sweating. It's hot out. And I could literally feel its breath on my back, on the back of my shirt. Yeah. And at the end is the slide gates where you back up trailers. And it's just like, there's kids up there trying to help me work these cows. And they're sitting on top of the corrals. And I can hear them. Oh, he's dead. I'm like, well, thanks, guys, But so I get to the end of this, and I just jumped up on that gate as high as I could. And I don't even know how I jumped that high. These kids were like, well, what do you know? White man can jump. You got a fucking like 950-pound pissed off fucking steer behind you.
You can jump over just about anything.
You'll find elevation. Yeah. So I jumped up on this gate as high as I could, and its head hit the fucking gate between my knees. Just bam. And to this day,
all the hair standing up on my arms because I know this feeling.
3/4 inch bolts that the thing slides on up in the track because it was a slide gate. Thing's still bent to this day from the impact of it. I got up on top of it. This thing was insane. It was one of the few we had to shoot outside of the kill box and drag in because it would not go in. And I got up on top of there. I'm walking on top of the bars, on top of this corral, and it was literally hunting me. It was like following me, huffing everywhere I went. Like, holy shit, this thing really wants me dead.
Do you guys have a lot of belted Galloways down your way?
I don't see a ton of them down this way. No, I've run into 2 or 3 of them, but not a ton of them. There's a lot of Angus down here with sprinkled in with a decent bit of Longhorns and Brahmins, and you'll see other breeds and stuff. But
no, we've got
the odd Highlands.
And I hate them so much. They are so goddamn crazy. Like every single one I've dealt with has been like, and again, that's from like, I haven't taken the shot on all of them, but like when I worked at the USDA plant, every time, like when I would go over on the kill floor, it always ended up being Belties for some reason.
Yeah. But sounds like Brahmins.
Yeah. They are just mean. Like they are just downright mean. And I had one. Yeah, they are. It's crazy. I had one that it was a stunted heifer. It was 4 years old.
Yep.
It had broken through every single fence they had, broken through every single gate they had, like everything. So they had it, and they're like, this thing needs to go. I was like, yeah, I'll come out. That's fine. So at that point, I was using single shot 410 with a slug. And it works. Like it just 90% of the time it works. And
it's like hitting them in the head with a small hammer. I mean, it's a lot of lead, really. Yeah.
Really fast. High speed lead injection. But
exactly.
I'm probably realistically the end of the muzzle is probably 2 feet away from this thing. I finally got into position. Shot, dropped. And I'm like, okay, good. This thing stands up and just looks at me from being like, I mean, again, for the people that don't, when you drop a cow, when you hit it right, all 4 legs just like retract up like magic.
Yep.
And then the whole animal just falls to the ground. Did that. Yep. Did everything. I'm like, okay, we're good. This thing stands up, looks at me, and rams the fence that I'm outside of. Luckily, it was like 1-inch steel tubing, like pretty heavy duty fence. I get a second shot on it. This one didn't drop it, but it brought it to the point where it was like, it was standing, but it wasn't there. And the third shot, I jumped in there for the third shot and dropped it.
I've had a few interesting ones like that where you're like, I think, and I'm not 100% sure, I'll never really know for sure. There was one that took a lot of 30-06 rounds to the head and just kept walking.
Crazy.
I think what happened, though, was the shot actually just pretty much destroyed the whole frontal lobe.
Right.
But there was still enough brain that, like, the basic functions could happen, because this thing would be,
They're
like, standing
moving.
there, like nothing would, but wouldn't even react to the sound of a shot. Like, there's nothing really going on, but enough to, like, for motor functions. You're like,
well, this one,
you know?
this one I
Very
spun
rare.
it back because I'm like, rare. I have to know, like, where this hit.
Yeah.
It was a grouping this big, just right where it needed to be.
Right where it
the first two slugs were still in the skull.
Yeah.
It was like, what is it? And I've had another issue like that with like a stunted cow, and it has to be just because they are so much smaller and still have the same bone density. So it's just, I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
This thing was not the smartest animal to begin with, and that was always kind of the joke while we're dealing with this. The owners were there too. They were present the whole time, which, I mean, I was like, oh my God, you know, this is not typical.
It is the worst feeling on the planet.
It is. But
I know we're talking about it now kind of lackadaisically, like, oh, there was this one time.
Well, no, it's awful. Absolutely awful.
At the moment, your heart is in your throat, like trying to get this done. Because it's
feel like you're fucking it up totally, but you know, it's like literally thousands of animals that I put down in a single shot, and every once in a while, when it goes bad, it does go really bad. I think we talked about this a little bit on my podcast one time, but this thing was crazy though. I mean, the guy's wife even asked me, "Do you think it even had a brain?" And I'm like, "Not anymore. It's soup." So I did.
After that,
I pinned the head out, and my first shot, 410 slug, bam, should have been a perfect knockout. What the hell? And then we counted because it was me and another guy got his rifle out. Where this thing was just basically hopped the gate and was walking around in the pasture, and we're like, well, we got to stop it, not shoot the neighbors in the process, you know.
Right.
7 30-06 rounds in its
That's
head.
insane.
That every single one of them should have been a kill shot. The last 30-06 round was me when it finally went down, walking up to it, putting the gun to its head at point blank range and pulling the trigger because I am done today.
No, I've had a couple of those.
Mind you, so you guys know, NC-17 warning here. If you do that, if you have a 30-06 rifle and you put it directly to a cow's head and you pull the trigger, you will wear all the blood from the bottom up.
Yep,
it's an explosion of blood and brain.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
But the cow didn't get up. I mean, at this point, it's like this thing needs to die. I actually told these people at one point after we had the skins, we have it in the cooler. I said, if this is some sort of weird X-Men mutant thing, like this is the Wolverine version of a cow that it just can't die because it regenerates. If it starts growing fur, don't call me back, but let me know. I'm going to change my name and move to Mexico, and I'm going to be on the run for the rest of my life from a cow because it's coming for me.
Right, absolutely. If it took the time to regenerate, it's coming for you.
Right. I'm like, no, I'm done. But it's extremely rare that happens. Extremely rare that happens.
Yeah. No, it really is. And like when you're at the point that we're at of like, I've got quite a few under my belt. You have way more than I do because you actually ran a slaughter floor. But like
you shoot enough things in the face, eventually you're going to see it go not the right way. I mean, just the law of averages.
But it's
do anything enough time, you're going to fuck it up.
I feel like everyone thinks it's so easy. You just walk up and shoot it. And it's like, yes, that is what you're doing. It is and it isn't.
It's extremely easy, but it's not always easy to set that shot up. And you would think that it would be super easy because it's point blank range. Okay, so
it's also moving independently from you. Like
you take a shot on some. Here's my analogy for people. I'll be like, okay, so I'm going to take a basketball on a string, all right, and I'm going to put a dot on it here and a dot on it on the backside. Okay,
toss that
ball. And I said, now I'll just gently swing it. I said, even if it's not going completely wild, there you go, and it's swinging and it's pivoting and it's moving, and I'm like, now make a shot. Your shot has to hit that dot and hit the other dot on the other side. It has not just where you hit it, it has to be the right angle. If the cow turns its head and I hit it in the right spot, not going to do it.
Right.
Goats are even worse because now you've got a head this big. Right, exactly. Goats and sheep are even worse because now you got a head that's this big, and you've got a freaking dime-sized target that you got to hit at the right angle, and this thing is bouncing all over the fucking place and moving its head up and down and shit. Goats are like a fucking retarded puppet. They don't stay still.
Awful.
They don't stay still when you.
That's why I don't do them. Again, I have
you pretty much have to restrain their head. And people think that that's horrible, but I'm like, no, the only humane way I can kill this thing is to restrain its fucking head while I do it. Because
that is the one good thing about goats. If they have horns, you have a handle. So that's nice.
Yep. Pigs are not usually too hard, even though when it does go bad, pigs are way more, oh my God, the drama. But I will say, really, really well-handled pigs, like show pigs, you wouldn't think they'd be harder, but sometimes they are. The pig is scared of you.
They're so lovey, and they're like, hi.
Right. If you
just want to see you.
Yeah, they're like, oh, hi, how's it going? They're hoping they'll be drinking from the water hose in your hand.
They're doing their happy,
belly scratches.
Snort, like the
right. Yep, exactly. Like, you're like, oh my God. It's worse on that angle, but at the same time, like if a pig is kind of wary,
you're adorable. Like
if a pig's wary, they just stop and they stare at you and they will not take their eyes off you and they give you the perfect shot. Wild pigs in a trap, awesome. I can walk right up and they will freeze. Maybe they'll charge the side, but they stop and they lock eyes and they're just like, what the fuck are you going to do to me? I'm going to shoot you in the face. And you gave me the perfect shot. That's awesome. Thank you. Nice and peaceful. We're done. Show pigs, they're coming up there and you're trying to line up a shot and they're trying to lick the rifle barrel. And you're like, no, stop. No, not time for kisses. And
you can even, going back to my YouTube channel, when I put up that slaughter video, in the video, you see me get thrown on that gate by that pig. And that was a pig I had raised from 6 weeks old. And
there is nothing in the world more stubborn than a pig that has decided does not want to go.
As soon as I closed that gate and I watched its butt hit the side of the fence, I was like, over. I should have just walked away. But instead, you watched me for time lapse for about a minute, just tackle this thing. And then all of a sudden, it just turns and goes, nah, I don't want to be here, and just throws the gate open. And
what's really fun is when you have somebody say, my old job, they're dropping off pigs, and the pigs decide, we don't want to come out of this trailer. You got to get them out.
I still hate it.
The idiot, I will say, do not ever use, I'm not against people using hot shots in the right situation. Don't use them on pigs. I've only ever see it go bad with pigs. All it does is make them angry, and an angry pig is not a good thing. And an angry pig, if you have a stubborn pig that decides, I'm not going there, and then you make it angry, it's not going there now just to spite you.
Right, just because.
It doesn't matter how much force you try to use in that instance now. Your only option is to either wait it out, let it decide on its own, or literally have multiple guys go in there and physically move the animal.
Right. I would much rather, have to deal with getting a tractor somewhere to pull it out than try and push a pig. Like we had that last year with our fall piglets or our fall pigs. The first one went great. Second one went okay. And the third one hopped the electric fence and started running around the entire rest of the main paddock. So we chased it for about 45 minutes until it went into one of the shelters. And it calmed down. I brought some feed out. We were just sitting there, and I'm like, well, we're doing this here. And I ended up doing it right in the shelter. But I had to, then open a bunch of gates, come in at an angle, pull it closer to the fence, lift it over the fence, bring it back out onto the road. So I'm just driving in front of my house with a pig hanging off the front of the tractor, which for my neighbors isn't usually a surprising sign. But
Kyle's working.
Yeah, no, exactly. My neighbors across the street, there are times where it's like, I'll take a shot. And there was one day I just heard him working hard or hardly working. Yeah.
A little bit of both.
They don't care. It's so great. Yeah. Living in the middle of nowhere is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, especially if your neighbors are cool with what you're doing,
Right.
Yeah. Oh, shit. There was something I was going to say, and I forget what it was now. But anyway.
No.
Let's see.
Yeah, dealing with all these fun Folgers. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I love my Folgers.
Yeah. Oh, when I used to keep potbellies at the house, which I kind of miss keeping a few of them around because they're just super small and easy to manage. But they'd get out all the time. They'd always find ways. They'd be in the yard, but they'd get out. And then, I've got to go catch this fucking pig. And they're quick,
Right.
you know.
And then even if you do get your hands on them, they're just going to scream bloody murder the
They will
entire
scream
time.
the whole time and everything. But there's nothing harder to get a hold of. And I hate running and chasing pigs in circles because they are fast little fuckers. What really helped me out at one point, I built what I called a pig stick, which I literally had an 8-foot, like 1.5 inch, like oak dowel with like an eyelet in the end. And I had a big ass piece of stiff rope. It was like one of those dog catching, like, on the stick, one of those poles. And so I'd get up close to them and, I'd throw the loop over them. If I was far enough away, they weren't going to run. I'd throw the loop over them. And with pigs, you can't get them around the neck. It doesn't matter.
No,
they're peanut heads. They just flip right. They'll just back up and. Right. So you've got to get this pig. Maybe I'll have it cornered somewhere or whatnot. You got to get it to step through with at least one leg. So you can get it around the middle or whatnot and cinch that tight. That's what I would need to do because then I could actually pin the dang thing to the ground, get it on its side, hog tie it, and carry it where I needed to while it screams bloody murder. But it was better than trying to run it back to its pen. Because a pig will straight up run itself into a heart attack if you stress it too much. And I don't want to do that,
Absolutely. And I'm here to tell you, folks, you may think that you can run as fast as that pig and catch it, and you very well may be able to run that fast. But you cannot turn on a dime like that animal. That thing.
No. Oh, man. Pigs are amazingly fast and strong for their size and build. You do not see something that is a little lard ball like that and expect it to just be super maneuverable. Yes, grain and beer definitely helps. It depends on the pigs, and if they're worked with, and they know what's going on. The other thing, when I was working the kill floor, food, a lot of times we'd have extra donuts or some shit like that sitting up in the break room, toss something out for them. With the pigs that came in well fed, and not, believe it or not, a pig can eat enough. It's not really super interested in food. It's just curious about, I'm in a new room. What almost always worked, I'd have cotton gloves. Just throw a random glove or a rag down just outside the pen, and they'd be curious. They come over and be like, "Oh, start sniffing at it."
That is really smart.
It does work because it's a new thing. They come over and start sniffing at it, and it's their perfect spot.
That is really smart. We did that. I did that for my buddy's pig up the road this fall. We didn't really figure out transport to get it here, and he didn't have a tractor or anything. So I ended up at like the last minute borrowing another buddy's trailer. And I'm like, all right, well, let's kind of do it. But it was like day of. And I'm like, there's no way these pigs are getting in the trailer. There's
that's hard.
Literal zero chance. But we did it. We tried. But we're like, well, I heard if you get them drunk, they're a little bit easier to get on the trailer. Well,
it works at bars. Why not for pigs,
Yeah. We unfortunately got these pigs hammered, and they were not getting on any trailer whatsoever.
Oh, you got the rowdy pigs. Yeah. You made a biker bar full of pigs.
Yeah. Oh no, they were running around for a little while, like just.
I guess if it was a bunch of drunk pigs, it'd really be kind of an Irish bar, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But
that'll be the one that gets your YouTube shut down right there. Anyway, sorry.
But no, and then it got to the point where it was like, all right, I just literally threw everything I needed into the bucket of my tractor and just drove it up the road. No plates or anything. Just like, don't care. We're going.
Yep.
And I ended up doing them up there, which made the kills fairly easy because they were hammered. And at that point, they were past just laying there. Like, what?
You ever seen that video where the guy finds a pig out into a case of beer or whatnot? It's like sleeping on the side of a hill,
passed out.
And he's like, "You a little drunk?" And he's like shaking it, and it just starts rolling down the hill. And every time it's rolling, it's just the most hilarious video ever. And then it kind of stops, and then tries to get up and rolls over. It just keeps rolling down the fucking hill. I watched that video and repeat 16 times. I swear.
No, it's fantastic.
But yeah, Rachel was asking about contemplating potbelly pigs here. What's the pros and cons? Well, they are pretty good for a small space.
Go for it.
Right. I mean, they're not hard to get. That's the big pro, I think, is there are a lot of them that people will just adopt, and they don't realize that they can get pretty good size. I've had 200-pound potbellies. And a lot of them aren't, you know, a lot of them could be crossed to something else, you know. So, but they're decent pigs. They're easy to handle. If you're one person or you're two people and you have limited freezer space, it's fine. You're never getting big chops out of them. No. You're never going to get big cuts, but that's okay. If you want, I've had some that have had decent sized chops, especially if you butterfly them.
Right.
But, and they were so small. I kept them. I bred probably 15, 20 a year. I mean, I'd have like 2 or 3 litters. I wouldn't breed 15, 20 sows. I'd have usually 2 or 3 sows.
Right.
One decent boar, and they don't take up much space. I kept at one point 3 younger barrows, or they were still boars, but got them up to a decent size, probably up to about 60 pounds a piece in a 10 by 10 dog kennel, moving it around as I needed to. Yeah. You know, they don't need a lot of room. I did everything with the pigs that I had, and I think the most I had at one point was 25 in 3 different fairly large size pens that I would move around, and I was doing that mostly on about 1.5 acres. Right. So what I would do to manage it, and this is just me because I hate castrating pigs, I hate dealing with it, and they get to a certain age and you're going to have issues. They're going to start breeding each other. I had that happen and ended up with 40 pigs one year. Yeah, real mess. But anyway, what I like to do, just got around to subscribe, usually catch replays. Cool. Yeah, she said she has 1.24 acres. So yeah. Anyway, what I like to do is take the males once they get to the size that I'm like, all right, they'll fit in the crock pot hole, usually about the size of a large rabbit. Done. Keep the extra sows around, and I'll keep my breeder sows and I keep the other sows and I'd raise them out for full size pigs. Or if they turn out to just be a really good pig, it'd be a replacement sow. I'd cycle them in. But almost all of the boars, and I would literally just skin them, treat them like a big rabbit, straight in the crock pot. It looks like a rabbit in the crock pot, but the whole thing I'd make it like pulled pork. Now, if I was doing it today, I'd probably cure some and smoke them like I did it with some wild hog piglets too. They do put on fat way better than the small wild pigs, though. They are a lard breed. The reason that they kept them around, they're originally from like Vietnam, is because they were good for a small family. They'll have refrigeration, but produced fat. So if you feed them too much, like the average pot belly that you see that's like got its belly dragging on the ground, that's somebody's pet, that's going to taste like shit because it's mostly ate dog food and donuts its whole life. Don't buy one just to eat. No. Get it, let it eat clean for a while. Maybe it's worth keeping for breeding or whatnot. Some are too far gone because they're just too obese. But they taste like pig. They taste so, you know, if you've ever had an old-fashioned pig breed and they've got that dark red meat, they've got that flavorful meat. Potbellies are like that. They're a very well-flavored, really rich flavored pig. They taste really good. And the other nice thing about it is because they put on fat so well and they stay smaller, they don't need a ton to eat. I want to say to maintain my boar, and my boar was probably 80 to 120 pounds, I think, the biggest he ever got, the one I kept for breeding. And the sows probably were about 65, 80 in that neighborhood. Right. To keep him and the trio of them, I went through, I want to say about a bag to a bag and a half of feed a week.
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all. I mean, obviously more if I was feeding out piglets and stuff. Right. You know, and I'd have other stuff, and they'd have some scraps and stuff, but I was mostly feeding a combination of like decent sweet feed and cracked corn, you know, just to make sure they got enough calories and whatnot. I'd get some hog ration and stuff in there now and then, but I mean, they're not hard to keep. So I'd recommend somebody start out with a couple of pot bellies if you're on a small lot before you try to raise something bigger. Yeah. But just know they will get out of everything.
They will. They absolutely will. I don't know. My brain's just wired differently when it comes to all that. Like, I am very much in my head. I'm like, if you're not pulling your weight, you're gone. You're in the cooler. I'm not going to be feeding you if you're not doing stuff for me. And I know you can do it out of pot belly, but it's like
a lot of it more is depends on your space and what you're trying to do with it. Like what restrictions you've got. If you've got a big open fenced in pasture and you're running pasture pigs, that is freaking awesome. For me, I just wanted lard, and I wanted lard. I wanted something I was going to be able to raise in around the house and basically the poultry area, and isn't going to cost me a lot to feed out just for freezer meat. You know, as much as I'd love to do the whole regenerative thing and move them and do all this fun stuff, I don't have time to go out and move electronet and everything like that every day. I don't have time to tractor pigs around and shit like that. But I will say, if you ever were going to try to tractor a pig breed, Potbellies would definitely be where I'd go.
Oh, they'd be perfect.
I'd try first because they'd be perfect size for it.
Right.
K-Bone has a fat content of potbelly pigs. They've got good fat content. I mean, you actually honestly want to be careful how much you feed them, or they can just become all fat. I've had potbelly pigs that had come in that somebody had raised up, and I ended up slaughtering them. I have a picture somewhere of one where I literally had every knife and every honing steel that I have pinning its bellies open so I could actually get in and gut the thing because it was like 8 inches of fat. I mean, you got in there was this much fat on the actual loins, and it was like that big of a fucking loin. So we ended up, the guy didn't want any lard, and we're like, you're gonna have 3 pounds of fucking meat. Don't raise a pig like this, you're dumb.
No.
So it just, I think it was a total waste. I'm sure it tasted horrible too, because I think probably lived on nothing but leftover Krispy Kreme all life.
The facility I worked at towards the end were like, no more potbellies, no more guinea hogs.
Yeah,
we're not doing them. Like, we have,
because it's not that they're a bad breed, but so many people keep them as pets and don't raise them for livestock that they're not going to turn out well. No, they're not going to turn out well. K-Bonk asks if they're good for woodland foraging. I would go out on a limb and say all pigs are good for woodland foraging.
Every single
That's
one
what they do.
That's what
they do. Some are better at not rooting as much. Breeds like kunes and stuff. As long as they have access to good pasture, they won't root as much. They still will root, just not nearly as much.
Right.
But all pigs, if they've got access to the woods and there's freaking mushrooms and nuts and mast crops and things like that out there, they will love it. That's their nature. Pigs are a woodland creature that want to get down in the bottoms.
Every pig is going to root in some way or another. It's just the level of it. Like my boar with the Osba and the Mangalitsa, he is a bulldozer. That's all he wants to do.
Oh yeah.
That's all he wants to do.
Rachel was talking about just good with just the ground and the fat. But that's what I did with a lot of them. I actually had a couple of them that I sold to some folks. Like I sold the pig, and then I ended up doing the processing too for them, and they just wanted sausage. They didn't care about anything else. They are great for making a couple of roasts, though. I mean, you can just take that whole shoulder, and it's like the perfect size fit in the crock pot. There's some good cuts you can get off of them. They're just small. Honestly, a lot of the wild pigs out here, though, that are worth eating are about that size anyway. So I'm kind of used to doing that. But yeah, I mean, they make excellent sausage. If you raise them outright, it's like almost like the whole pig can just get round into sausage. It's right about 30% fat content if you do it right. And they've got, like I said, they've got good flavor. We're so used to pork in the stores that is raised hyper fast on crap feed, and it's like it's like the commercial chicken. It's like this is pale and flavorless and watery. And then if you have good pork, like Hereford or something.
I look at potbellies and guineas like I look at black bear. Like I cut them almost exactly the same way. It's
listen, guinea hogs are good too. Yeah. I really wanted to. I had a decent American guinea hog boar, and I really wanted to cross them to some potbellies just to see what would happen. And it never worked out for me. Like the timings never lined up and whatnot. And then finally one day, he was a repeat offender of getting loose. And the one day he got loose and kind of cornered somebody else, and I was having none of that. And then he got loose and kind of got a little aggressive with me one day. I didn't have the time for him. And then I came outside another day, and he was out, and we ended up going because his pen was a circle of cattle panels. It's kind of great if you can do pigs in a circle. Try to do so because they don't have corners. The weak points on a pen are always the corner. They'll bunch up in the corner and break it. There's no corners on a round corral style. So I had it, pinned up to a couple of trees and some T-posts and whatnot. It rained a ton, and he was able to lift the T-post a little bit and got out. So I'm trying to herd him back in. We ended up in this situation where we're going either side of this round pen, and he's doing the foaming at the mouth and scratching the ground thing and whatnot. I'm like,
all horned up.
At this point, he's got like 4-inch cutters on him.
Yeah, that's the other thing about those pigs. They grow tusks. Like
he's probably about 180 pounds, 180, 200 pounds.
Yeah, and I'd rather get in there with a 500-pound Yorkshire.
I mean, I finally got to the point where I was like, all right, it's your day. So I had to put one in him across the pen, drop him where he was, and I was like, it really sucks because I was on the way to go to the shop, and I'm like, now I've got to deal with my pig. So I mean. I bled him and drug him over, and then it was fun because at the time I was driving an old Toyota Camry basically, and I got it in the trunk on a tarp by myself, which was really fun. Because if you've never tried to get a 200-pound dead pig into the trunk of a mid-sized sedan by yourself, you've not lived.
If you've ever tried to move a
great.
50-pound dead hog, like
they are so much heavier than they look.
There's something
you don't know what dead weight is.
And then there's something about dead pig weight. Dead pig weight is a real thing, and it's awful.
It is. It's like the most uncooperative thing you could ever move.
And it's just the way their spines are and everything, because they like, it's crazy. It's awful. It's absolutely awful.
Really, it's just like every bit of it works against you. So what I ended up finally having to do, so you know those big like igloo coolers, like the big ones that are like fill the whole back seat of a car, the big bitches. I slid that up behind the bumper of the car and managed to get one end of the pig, like I think I got its ass up on there first, and hold it up with like my side and slide the other side up into there and then roll it into the trunk. And thank fuck I had a hoist when I got to the shop because I was backed right up under the hoist.
Oh my God.
It was great. I wish it was on video. I wish so bad.
I wish it was on video too. Oh my God.
It was, no, I mean, I was so pissed off. I was so pissed off, but I can't help but look back and laugh going, that had to be I hope a neighbor was watching. I really do. I hope they were watching, and I hope they're terrified of me.
Right. See, that would have been one of those moments where it's almost worth it to put it in a garbage bag first, just so in case someone really does see it, it's like, it's even worse. It's like,
I know.
Oh my God. What is he struggling?
I will tell you, everybody right now who's ever considered doing something very bad and having to move and hide a body,
good luck.
Don't count on your ability to do that unless you've moved something big and dead first. Could I do it? Yes. Do I want to do it? No. But I know exactly what I'm getting into, and it's not a fun time.
You got to break them down first. What are you talking about?
Right. Just bring them up in a tree in your front yard. Why not?
Right.
I thought about actually doing it. I was like, because I don't have a hoist set up at the house. I don't have the shit set up there for it right now.
No, it's not. So it almost.
I have a chain hoist and everything, and of course, all the shit was sitting at the shop. And I'm like, I'm not going to waste the day and go get my shit and come back and do it here. It's coming with me. This bitch is coming with me, one way or another. Let's see here.
It's crazy. What do we got?
Whatever craziness we got going on over here.
All right, K-Bonk. What's this? 70-30 on a ribeye. Yeah. I would say depends on what you feed it.
Ratio. Yeah. Depending on the breed. The breed has a lot to do with it.
Obviously. If you got something like Longhorns and stuff like that are just
if it's a rangy breed, you're not going to get marbling. I mean, you will eventually, but it's going to take a long time to get there.
It's going to take a while.
So work them like you do the Cornish cross. Yeah, Rachel, you could work them kind of like Cornish cross, but just know if you did do pens like that or pigs moved around, you're going to need to have some sort of pen in it that's heavy enough that they can't lift it. And you will be amazed at exactly how much a pig can lift with its nose. They are
so much. Everything.
It's insane. Yeah. It's insane. If they can get their nose under it, it's a matter of time. I mean, I've seen them eventually start to move steel posts out of concrete. They work it long enough.
Oh, yeah. I really like the woven wire electric combo. You can't really do one without the other. Like, you can't.
You do kind of have to train them to the electric, though. That's important.
So many people that run on just electric, and it gives me so much anxiety. Every time I'm there, I'm like, I don't know how you sleep at night. Like, thinking about your pigs just like, I know. And I've trained pigs on electric. Like, there are many
I've not
times.
Seen his video about skinning and butchering on the ground.
I have not seen that either.
It's doable. I've had to skin some animals on the ground before. I will say, though, even as somebody with experience, practice doing it, you have a hard time not getting dirt all over the animal while you're doing it. So I would definitely not recommend anybody try it. No, unless you plan on doing a lot of trimming, unless you have some practice. I mean, if you are out there, I've skinned many a deer on the ground before because I just wasn't in a position to do something else about it. I did not want to drag this bitch out of the woods. I'm just coordinating it up here. But you know, even me, I'm gonna have a hard time not getting dirt and leaves and shit all over it.
Oh, absolutely. So, and like training them on electric is great.
Yep.
Like
you do need to train them though. That's people have to realize that because a pig any old pig that's not been used to electric, if you just throw them an
they'll
electric
blast right
fence, they're just going to blow through it and then wonder what happened after they're already outside.
And especially if you didn't set it up right too. Like if you don't have it at the right height and they stick their head under and it zaps them like right on the shoulder blades, they're going straight through that. Like,
Yep.
You got to have it set right to where it's like it's going to hit the top of their ears or their nose. Like,
Yep.
but
Well, yeah, you're talking
wire,
about machinery and ways to lift and pulleys and things. There are so many ways, and I can tell you right now, it's so much easier when you're talking pigs than when you're talking cattle. When you're talking cattle, you're talking, I need a big hoist or I need a tractor or a loader or something heavy machinery.
I've got a 2,000 pound hoist in one of my queues that I need to buy.
We're not talking a 500-600 plus pound pig. Anything that can handle a deer, you can do a pig.
You can do it. You can figure it out. It's going to suck.
You can literally just go buy the game gambrel that's like rated for 250 pounds or whatever. If you're doing populace, that's all you need, and you hoist the bitch up, and it's fine. Or a chain hoist. Chain hoists are cheap. You can go buy a freaking $40 chain hoist at Harbor Freight that will hold a cow. Not a problem. I actually did that for a while. Smaller breed pigs, I was packing in and out of the car, and I would show up to people's house, process it in their backyard, and I literally brought, those expandable like multifunction ladders, the ones you can set up like a straight ladder or like whatever. The one I had, if I had it set like a step ladder, it would go up to about 8 foot high.
Yeah.
So I went up to about 8 foot high. I had an old lawnmower blade that laid across between the top two rungs, and I had a chain hoist hooked up to it. Chain hoist, gambrel, bungee cord to hold the actual control chain up out of the way. I would literally just pack all this shit out of the car, start setting up, and they're like, "What the redneck hell's going on?" But
dude,
there we go. Dig up, clean it up, wash it down. I'm like, "You got a garden hose?"
Yeah. For those who don't know, the first, what would you say, about a year of going off on your own for mobile slaughter is the jankiest setup on the face of the planet.
Absolutely.
Unless you're like, I'm going to go off on a whim and just invest
a shitload of money,
$250,000 and getting everything I need, and we're going to do great. It is the jankiest thing you've ever done.
And even if you do invest all that money, I know people who have done that. And my advice to them from the get-go was be prepared for everything to go wrong and for everything to break. Have two of everything, have a backup plan for when both of those break, and then have a plan for when everything goes wrong from the get-go, including the animal, because it will. Not all at the same time, not every time, but every single job will be an adventure, and you don't know what you're walking into till you get there. And even then, it's still up in the air. So
I don't care. I don't care if you go to the same farm multiple times. It will never be the same every time.
Yeah.
It is crazy. The amount of just random stories I have about just doing those mobile stuff. I miss it. And I do miss it. I do miss it a lot.
Right. But, and then, I decided that wasn't exciting enough, apparently, because I started going to people's houses and training them individually how to do it in their backyard either with their equipment, or I'd bring minimal equipment and instruct them if they want to do this themselves. These are things you're going to need. Right. So I'd be like, all right, we're going to show up and see what happens. We're going to figure it out. Most people it's capable. It's doable in most situations.
Oh, it is.
Most
it absolutely is.
And have the equipment to do it, but usually people learn really quick what things they want to invest in.
And there are certain things. And if you would like to know that, you can go back to listen to Renegade Butcher podcast. I think the first 3 or 4 that I was on.
We did a pretty good little series back and forth there, talking about a lot of different. We've had multiple where we talked about equipment and things like that. So it's been quite a bit. A lot of the recent episodes too. Let's see here.
What do we got?
I don't know what K-Bunk means by Josh Point. I got a point. Sweet.
Right. Good job, Josh.
Yeah. On a wing and a prayer. Yeah.
Just barely.
Something like that.
Just barely.
Yeah. I have never failed to kill the animal. I will tell you that.
Yeah, no.
There's
always dead by the end. Yeah.
I've always
won. No, like I look at my shop now and I'm like, I really don't want to do mobile. I will convince the customer to come to me in any way, shape, or form. Even if that means
you're set up and you're set up in a way to legally do it. There's no reason for you not to.
And it's like I'll even go to the point of borrowing a trailer and picking them up. like, and charging a fee. Like, I'll do that over doing some stuff just because it's like, again, I have a system now. Like, let's get it done. But if you look in my shop, so I have like on the cooler, I've got like a small desk that hangs off the front of it. And it's just like that countertop that you can just buy at Home Depot. So that is the first piece of countertop that I bought to slide in the back of my truck to do my first deer job ever. And then there are like there are 3 garage doors in my shop, and in the middle of one of the braces is a piece of chain that hangs down. That was the first setup in that garage of like, all right, this is where we're gonna do here. So it's like just
can't super sticker because neither him or I are monetized. We don't have enough followers to be part of that. So if you do like to do value for value, though, if you like to do value for value and you want to support Kyle or I in some way or give a little thanks, you can go and tip us on Telegram with Lightning, or you can go zap us on Nostr, and that's one thing you can do. But yeah, unfortunately, YouTube gatekeeps being able to make money until you have at least 1,000 followers and enough watch hours. I'm not even there yet. My push is to hopefully be there sometime this next month, but we'll see if it happens or not.
I mean, my plan with this is to like, I definitely want to keep growing the page and keep getting followers and stuff like that. And it's like, if we get to the point where we have a decent following, we're putting out a lot of content and stuff, and they start cracking down on some of the stuff I'm putting up, like my plan is to just kind of keep going with some of the normal stuff and then start like a Patreon or something and put out a couple times a week. All right, here are the slaughter videos that you probably didn't, like, you wouldn't have gotten to see on YouTube, but here's some extra content. Here's my cut sheet setups. Here's whatever, like just some extra stuff to help, like
stuff there.
If you, if you really care, and it's like, if you really want to listen, let's do $5 a month and you get everything.
Even when YouTube does let you monetize, that's the thing. It's income. I'll take it. It's there. You know, I'd like to have the option, but you know what YouTube's cut is? 55%.
Really?
Yeah. 55% they do. I know. So it's like, that's great. Somebody's like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to send a $20 super chat. Yup. I got $9.50 of that.
Yeah.
So that all went to YouTube's coffers. So that's why I'm big on the Lightning thing. That's why I'm big on all that fun shit, because that's direct YouTube. I mean, that's the best way to support a creator if you can. Yeah, he says, what the fuck, YouTube, right?
Right.
What's he talking about here? A wooden sink for your stainless steel.
Oh, yeah. No, I do. It's on wheels. It rolls around.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's super nice. It's way more convenient than I thought it was ever going to be.
Yeah. And wood's not that big of an... Did you seal the wood?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes a big difference, because I know when we went through all that, trying to get shit ready to go for USDA at the other shop I used to work at, you could have wood like for trim and stuff like that, but it all had to be like polyurethane sealed, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a cleanliness thing. I get it.
And I get it. But
let's see. Pig shares. I mean, you do kind of do stuff like that now.
Yeah, we're doing stuff. We're doing a little bit of stuff like that. This year is interesting. We're trying to figure out financially what we're doing. We just put one of our gilts in the cooler because she wasn't getting bred. One looks like she is bred, but she's not farrow until August. So that's super fun. And with the breeds we have, with the Herefords, they're like a 7-month grow out, which isn't awful. But the Ossibas and the Mangalitsa are like a 16-month grow out. So I'm looking at
kind of that weird period of.
So I'm hoping for like a 10 to at the latest 12-month grow out, which again for pigs is a long grow out, but
it is. But trust me, meat tastes way better than.
Oh, it absolutely does. That's why we're doing it. Like, and that's why I think I have people knocking down my door to get pork, and it's I think for that reason. I mean, I had a couple buddies that were like, I don't think we can get a pork pig from you this year. It was expensive, blah, blah. And then I sent them crosscuts from the genetics from where my boar is coming from. And they're like, yeah, we'll take a half.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, James, I have not got to do the cheese and the sausage yet. I've got it, but I have not had much chance to do sausage this week. I am planning on, I had some fun stuff go on with the cooler the shop I'm working at.
Yeah.
It been getting worked on and got a little cold, as in everything was freezing in it. So everything I have to work with right now that would go into sausage is like a rock. So I'm trying to deal with those issues before I jump on another project. But hopefully this coming week, I'd like to get some in the smoker, give that stuff a try. For people who aren't familiar with what's going on, we're doing a little experiment. James sent me a little bit. He's got a freeze dryer. He sent me some freeze dried cheese because I'm super curious. Well, yeah, I'm super curious if freeze dried cheese will rehydrate and work fine in a sausage, because I use high temp cheese, which is slightly dehydrated all the time, and it works great. It's called restrict melt because it doesn't just melt into the cheese during the smoking process. It's just kind of dried out. I don't know if it's too dry with the freeze dried, but I ship seasonings. It's really hard to ship that cheese. You can ship it, but you got to almost do it overnight. It's got to be like damn cold when you do it, and like in like reflectix insulation and shit. You can order it on Amazon, but it's expensive as shit. So if there's a cheaper way to do this, or even if it's the same price but it's pretty shelf stable, or at least could handle a week in the mail without a problem, interesting. I'm very interested in it. So I will let you know for sure. I'll probably do some video of the process as I do it too. Okay, Bonk, let's see. Yeah, I did a stuff with a processor in PHL, I think Philadelphia, and that would shut the plant down. Yeah, it does depend on the state. Depends on the individual state, and some are a real hard line, and sometimes it comes down to the interpretation of individual inspectors too. I know that it did come up, and it was some are really big on the absolutely no wood. Some places are pretty lax on what they do or don't allow. Hell, even with the mobile processors. Oddly enough, of all places, Texas is the hardest place to get set up doing mobile processing. That's why I'm not running a trailer right now.
It's really not shocking to me. Like, because I know that we've talked about that in the past, but it's like there's definitely all of the, because you guys probably have per capita the most industrial slaughterhouses in the country.
We have a lot of it, and a lot of it does come down to that. There's an incentive to make it hard for little guys. Right. But from the standpoint of, for the most part, if you're not talking about particular plants, Texas is a pretty free and open state. And they're pretty pro small business, you know. Right. But as far as regulations go on the mobile slaughter side, we are the only state out of 50 states that require it to be done completely in an enclosed area. You cannot skin outdoors for any kind of for anybody else. You can do whatever the hell you want for yourself, you know. If it's for personal consumption, it doesn't matter. But if you're doing it, if you are a licensed facility, you have to do it. You have guys literally pulling up and like setting up a fucking circus tent outside the back of a box truck to make this work. And like, I am not dragging along some help to set up a tent. Right. Not doing
so here we go. This is where it gets into like conspiracy shit. This is going to be it has to be something about like a family that has been in Texas before it was Texas, that they ran the slaughter.
I know exactly what happened. I know exactly what happened. I know absolutely what went on. What went on was there was never anything on the books at all about mobile slaughter. The only thing that was on the books for mobile slaughter was those guys we were talking about in the group the other night that do the wild game. They do full USDA inspected. They show up and they do like the culls and whatnot. Inspectors come out and they sell like axis deer meat and stuff like that. You know, they've got a process for that, but there's nothing for domestics on the books in Texas. It's all new territory. Well, I started doing this to help people out. I had some friends that were doing something similar to help people out. They've been doing it off and on. It's a side thing for years. And they were doing it just like a flatbed trailer, roll up, cut it up, you put the meat in your cooler and you take it home and package it how you want kind of thing. And they were just doing just the slaughter side of things. And, came from like a wild game skinning background and we're just using their skill as a side gig. Well, they got hit before I did. Come to find out, out of nowhere, out of the blue, somebody goes, this is a good idea. Decided to start up their own mobile processing company. They, without any announcements, without any whatever, all the rest of us who were doing this already would collaborate. We'd send each other business and we'd help each other out. We'd refer each other. There's a lot of Texas. There's a lot of animals. I can't do it all. And we were all learning from each other, helping each other out. Big jobs would come up and we'd all join together and work on them together and shit like that. It was awesome. These people showed up. Well, we tried to reach out initially when we first heard about them. and they want nothing to do with anybody else. They're like, fuck everybody
Right.
kind of thing, just jackasses, whatever, if that's how you want to start the industry. But they initially, before saying anything or whatever, went to the state and said, this is our idea. This is what we want to do. What do we have to do to make it happen? So they gave the state an open field to write whatever rules and we'll comply with whatever you want to do. So they set the standard initially as whatever the state wants to enforce on us, we'll do. If you do that, they will literally bend you over without lube and make you grab your ankles.
Yeah.
Because they can.
It's the state.
And they'll only incrementally get worse. But when you start with that, so they fucked us all. Yeah. So initially, suddenly they started taking to Facebook and Instagram or wherever anybody was advertising their services and educating people and reporting their posts now as illegal mobile slaughter units to the state. And now there was a precedent to do it, and since it's a complaint-driven system, Right. So my friends got hit first. They showed up, literally threatening them with all kinds of stuff, up to $5,000 per offense, felonies, jail time, all kinds of shit. Like they had people show up to the door, like talking to their family members, threatening to them and shit like that, leaving off paperwork and crap. So they stepped back. They decided they wanted to go the full license route. They were the second in the state to actually get that going, but
right.
It was an adventure for them. And then after they built out they have a different type setup, but after they did all that, it was 6 months after they got everything together and all their paperwork into the state before an inspector ever came and started the process. So they literally had over a year of being out of business and couldn't do anything. And the state was watching them. Matter of time, eventually they finally showed up and knocked on my door. And I was ready for it. I had the whole there's a whole statute that the state of Texas has. Basically, these are the laws. This is what the inspectors enforce, and there's a personal use exception in there. And I had that section printed out and highlighted. And I'm like, everything that I'm doing is complying with this. And before I even pulled it out, the guy goes, I know exactly what you're going to say. Personal use exception, right? And I'm like, yep. He goes, I understand where you're coming from with that. I'm going to tell you right now, that's not how we're going to enforce it, though. So you're welcome to take it before a judge if you want to, but I'm like,
that's not how we're
so they just basically slapped it right out there. They're just like, go to war with us, bitch. Let's go to court.
Right.
I'm like, let me go to court. We get the state of Texas. I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So he's saying even in Western New York, they had to do killing outside is fine, but skinning and gutting should be done inside. When I went out on my own,
I think it's ideal that you would if you're able to, but from a mobile perspective, it's almost not possible.
Because when I went out on my own, I sat down with my bosses and told them, I'm like, hey, listen, like, I'm gonna be setting up something on the side. Like, first off, like, kind of like just letting you know ahead of time. Are you okay with that? And they're like, no, it's fine. Right. And I was like, can I ask you like everything? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And literally when it came down to it, I was like, so what kind of permits and stuff do I need? And he's like, you need nothing. There's nothing on the books here of like you needing
all
something
different state
to
by
run
state.
A business. Like at all. Like we had some stuff with the town, which was interesting. But in the end, I changed literally nothing about my business. Nothing. Not a damn thing. It just was paperwork and dealing with the town and stuff like that. But I'm basically a plumber, like in the eyes of the state, like for a job, like I am a contract worker that has my own shop at the house.
That's nice. That is nice. So nice.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it too is in Texas, we've got a very diverse population and a lot of people that are foreigners that come in. And it's not all just from the South. There's a lot of Middle Easterners and everything out here that there's a lot of weird shit that people like to do out in the backwoods. And there's some weird, hinky, odd slaughter shit going on that I understand why somebody calls about. And those guys spend so much time chasing down these weird leads. Like, did you know there's a market for like illegally processed cow hides for human consumption? There's like a black market for that.
What?
It's a South African thing. Apparently, they like eating basically cowhide. They boil it into a soup, and so apparently at one point they even busted a group of guys they were going around and legally getting cowhides from people because it's not counted as food. unless
Right.
it's intended for food. And they were taking it out to this place in the backwoods and torching the hair off of it. I guess the ground was just covered in torched hair out in this place because they've been doing it for so long. Torching the hair off of it, cutting it up in strips, and then fermenting it in barrels in the sun, and then selling it like down at the port of Houston. And yeah, it's some huge deal. Weird shit like that goes on. So they're edgy, I think, down here because, you know, it's a big
I've
state,
heard
a lot of.
So we're gonna venture off for a second. So I've heard of this from 2 different people, and I hope it's true because I want it to be my retirement plan. My ex-girlfriend's dad's mistress told me that she knew a guy when we're gonna skim over that one for a second.
Wow.
She knew
Back
a guy.
wait, your ex-dad's friend's mistress's sister? Okay, I got it.
Pretty much. It's that we could do a whole nother 2-hour episode on that. We're not. But she told me that she knew a guy when she lived in Florida. She was a crazy old horse lady that she like petitioned this guy and tried to put him in jail for this, that, and the other thing. And his job, he was this like 65-year-old dude, 70-year-old dude, drove around on a big flatbed truck with a crane on the back. And his job was to go to all the farms around the county, and they'd call and say, hey, we got this horse, we're putting it down, come do it. He would show up, shoot the horse, pick it up, put it on the flatbed, go to the next farm. Boom,
they have guys in the UK that do that. They call them the knacker man.
And then he would take that truck and drive it right in the back door of Disneyland at Animal Kingdom and unload all of those dead horses and cows so they could feed all the lions and tigers and bears in the most magical place on earth. And that had me laughing so hard that that's a job, and she did not appreciate it. Because I'm like, that's like my dream retirement job. Like, if I ever am successful and move to Florida, like every other old person who's grew up in New England, like, you're telling me for 6 months out of the year, I could just be that person that drives dead horses to Disneyland?
I could go shoot horses and take them to Disneyland so little girls get to see the Lion King in real life.
Right.
I mean, I'm basically a fairy.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's magical. Right? I could be the Florida man that shoots things and gets paid? Hell yes.
There's a lot. Wait, to be fair, there's a lot of Florida men that shoot things, but
and get
not
paid,
all of
probably.
them.
But
Yeah, not all
up and up, like for legit.
You'd be like the top 2 of people who get paid to do it.
Outside of law enforcement. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Goes Miami PD, and then the guy that shoots horses and brings them to Disneyland.
Oh, it's past James's bedtime. It's a good thing he came first. So
he did. He came first, so it doesn't really matter if he rolls over and goes to sleep now.
Exactly. Oh yes, yeah, I know it's New Hampshire. K-Bong. I'm aware he's in New Hampshire. He's a New Hampshirean.
I am.
In some ways, they've got.
I didn't see that comment.
K-Bonk here.
Oh, yeah.
There. It's there.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Now he sees it. Of course, I hope you see it. Everybody else sees it.
Right.
Yeah. That is how they feed them. They've got to kill things for them.
Yeah.
It's not like Jurassic Park where they've got like the goat on the crane. Meh.
What's the matter, kid? You don't like mutton? No, lamb chops.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
that scene chops. That scene just hits different now that you look back. You know, when you were a kid, everybody's like, "Oh, that poor goat."
I wasn't. I was like, "Let's see this thing."
No.
Right. Let's see this happen.
Right. No, I was upset that all they saw when they dropped the cow in there was all you saw was the fucking banana leaves moving and shit. You're like, "Oh, damn."
Right.
But no, never mind. You never saw that in theaters. I was probably like,
God, no.
I don't know, 10.
When that come out? 90?
Shit, probably 96, 97. I'd have to look it up now.
So
now you got me looking.
3.5?
God damn.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me look up and see if I can find when the original came out. Now you got me curious.
I know.
1993. God damn.
Yep, I was 1 year old, depending on when that came out. Yeah.
93. God, I was damn. I was 7 and they took me to Jurassic Park in the theaters. Holy
Your
shit.
parents rock.
No, they really didn't. It was actually my grandparents that took me, which is
Wow.
even weirder if you knew them.
So
I don't think anybody realized that the dinosaur show was going to be violent.
So I have one of those stories. My grandparents on my dad's side live in Rhode Island, so I would go down and visit them. Me and my sister
thank you for noticing, Rachel.
But and we just went down to visit her. Like my dad wasn't up, so we were just down visiting them. And she's like, "You guys want to go to the movies?" And I'm like, "Okay." And we're looking at the paper at all the movies that came out, and that was right when Anger Management came out with Adam Sandler.
Oh my god!
And I was 10 or 12, but I had seen the previews and I wanted to see it. And I was like, let's go see that one. And she's like, okay. We made it to the point where Woody Harrelson is the tranny singing I'm So Pretty. And she stormed us out of that movie theater. He goes, did you know what this was going to be about? And I'm dying.
That's great. That's great.
But I got to give it. I got to give it to my grandma. We didn't leave. She just snuck us into a different movie.
That works. That works.
Right.
I think they had their guard down because like not long before that we'd gone to the theaters and seen something like one of the Land Before Time and like Fern Gully or some stupid shit like that. So I was like, oh look, another dinosaur movie.
Well, also like I've heard from my dad, like who saw it in theaters. He's like, we had never seen anything like that. Like as an adult, he was like, we had never seen a movie like that. Like that hadn't happened before. Like just the level of animation.
To the new world.
Right.
It only gets worse from here.
It really does. But
yeah,
it's like I think that's cool to think about. Like again, I apologize. Like, I mean, you were only 7, so you weren't that like you're not that much older than me, but it's like to think about going to see like Jurassic Park or Saving Private Ryan when it was in theaters. Yeah, it was amazing.
It was great.
To be fair, I saw the first Jurassic World in theaters alone.
Yeah,
after crying because after a breakup, it was in the rain. I was like, I guess I'll just go see Jurassic Park or Jurassic World. Just see some people get fucked up by dinosaurs.
Was it that long ago? Shit.
That
wasn't that long ago, was it?
Jurassic World?
I have not been to the theaters to see a movie in a long time. I actually don't watch it.
Or no, we went and saw Avatar on a.
That's been a while ago.
My mom.
They've been talking
about
the
newest one that came out. My mom came up and took the kids.
Oh, so the newest one that came out like 10 years after the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the first one in theaters.
I saw the first one in theaters like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But we went and saw this one. It was like 3 hours long. It was a long.
What critters are we talking about tonight? I don't know. What critters are we talking about?
There was no notes on this one. We're just talking bullshit on this one.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about a bunch of shit.
We've talked about a bunch of critters.
Cows and
right. But
shooting horses and feeding lions.
Shooting horses for Disneyland.
Not shooting horses in Disneyland, shooting horses for Disneyland.
That might be the name of the title, or the name of the episode.
It could be shooting horses for Disneyland.
I'm writing it down.
There you go. There you go. Oh, that's great. Banned immediately. Episode 3 banned.
Right. So it'll be S and whatever many stars it takes to do shooting, and then horses in Disneyland.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Oh,
you got to figure it out. Like that's the thing I'm like trying to figure out about TikTok too. Like how much can I put on there, and what's going to get me pulled down?
It depends. But some people like Tiffany has horrible luck with shit. Her shit gets pulled down all the time. I've had shit taken down, but I've never like had my full account like you can't do this. So I think I just scaled back on certain things. Some shit will, if it doesn't get taken down, it just won't get shown. They don't want to see like blood on an animal. Like if it's skinned, it's probably fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
Probably. If you shoot an animal and you do like a TikTok of it, like not even just shooting it, like showing it right after, like it's on the ground. No, if there's blood visible, no.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which it is what it is, but
yeah, it's part of it, and I get it.
But also, that's half the reason I started the channel is because every time I wanted to see a video of like something I'd never done before, everyone's just been so neutered that you can't. So again, like if you're watching, I appreciate it, or listening, because we do put this out as audio as well on Spotify, Apple app. Yeah. But
you want to see the real nitty gritty, that's where you want to be.
Right. But yeah, like we're gonna put out as much content as we can that can get away with what we can get away with. And if people want to see it, like I think we said it earlier in this one, like we're going to probably do a Patreon at some point once we get high enough. We're nowhere near that now. And I think that's the only reason like the slaughter video didn't get nicked for anything. Like
you'd be surprised. I mean, that, like you said, that guy in New Zealand who's out there, what was that, like a freaking 20-minute montage and just straight back-to-back shooting cows, like from
like 4 of them in a row.
I'm like,
and
holy crap, dude.
Then like that pithing video of like all of a sudden playing a cow like a mandolin. Okay, Bonk, we'll see you later.
Yeah, he's getting away with some shit. So I don't know. I've never had one actually taken off YouTube for that. YouTube seems to worry more about like copyright violation shit. That's usually what knocks people. Right. TikTok will throw some shit up now and then, but the thing is, nobody really knows what the fuck is and isn't good. I don't think they even do. It's just kind of like if you figure it out, it'll change. So don't worry so much about it. Just do your shit.
Right. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm just trying to be funny with it.
Back your fucking videos up, and if they take it down, take it down. And then that's the other thing. I kind of adopt the same strategy that Jack Spearco does a little bit with this. I'm like, I hope they ban me from YouTube. I hope they do.
Yeah.
Because then everybody's going to wonder where my shit goes, and they can go find me, and it's all going to be, come watch what's too hot for YouTube. Come watch what YouTube doesn't want you to see. That's great marketing. Come on, please ban me. Please ban me so I can blow up.
Yeah,
that's the best advertisement you can give me.
Yeah. And I mean, when it comes to like negative comments, I really don't give a shit about that. Like, that is what it is.
I'm going to call
people
you all
aren't going to like stuff
now.
Yeah. Wait, what did you say?
I'm going to call you all kinds of names now because you don't care.
Yeah, I know. You already do. Like,
I know I'm mean like that.
You're not telling me anything I don't know already.
I'm just mean.
How often I get called backdoor butcher? It's not like.
I like how he wasn't even trying for that the other day, and Brian accidentally said backwards butcher, and I'm like, oh god, there's a new one.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Braden Horsetail. That you can find that on my OnlyFans content.
The old horsetail.
I even put it in the description for this one.
I don't think anybody was ready for that.
Nobody was ready for it. No one ever is.
No,
and guess what? We're not going to tell anyone in this podcast who doesn't know what it is yet either. We're just going to leave that out in the ether for people to.
If you want to find that, you have to go look around on other podcasts.
Yes. I don't even remember what number podcast it was of yours that came up on.
I don't know.
Was it yours?
It was the one where we had the. Yeah, it was the 5-way, bullshitting on content creation one. Yeah.
That one hit you all like a ton of bricks. Like I watched every single one of your faces, just like,
like, wait,
what did you?
I was like,
say?
Had a moment of, wait, back it up, hold up, what?
Right.
The worst part is you start to visualize, but you don't want to visualize. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to visualize it.
No, you don't, but you can't help it.
No.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah. But you know what it does tell you?
Frankly.
Me and my wife have a real strong marriage. That's what that tells
Giddy up.
Yep.
Giddy up.
That just left it so much worse. It's really not as bad as it sounds. But when you say giddy up and just like, yeah, that doesn't sound great.
No, it does not.
Oh my God.
Wow. How do we go down that road? Anyway, it was
no idea.
Canadian Farmstead's fault.
Yes. Yeah. Can you imagine if Brian was here? That we would have been off the rails. I don't know, a half hour ago, maybe.
Were we ever on the rails?
No, that's very true. We've been riding this thing down off the rails this whole time.
I don't even see the rails. I don't know where the train went, but it's gone.
But again, that's the point of these ones. Like, I do enjoy doing the content and kind of like highlighting something because I learned things about it that I didn't know doing the research of just like little things. Of like, oh, well, that's cool. And I enjoy that people want to learn that stuff. But it's also, let's just have a couple fun ones, make some people laugh and talk about some stuff that's happened like around the job, around the farm, just in life. Like,
exactly. You figure out what breed you're doing next? I know you're going to poultry, aren't you?
I think I'm going to do broad-breasted whites, turkeys.
Good choice.
Again, I'm just kind of going with what I've done a lot of. So
yeah,
I'm starting off with that first. And then I think I'm going to do Katahdin sheep for the exotic week.
Just because of it's been asked.
Yeah, it's been asked. And, yeah.
He's like, just get it out of the way.
I am. And then the next go around, I'm going to do boar goats right after it. I
like how he counts. I like how he counts sheep and goats as exotics. Exotics is apparently the category of animals he doesn't do a lot of.
Right. That is by choice. But yeah, so I think I'm going to do broad-breasted whites just because I've raised a shit ton of them. So
yeah,
I might do some more this year. I'm not sure yet.
I've never done any of the broad-breasted, but
they're good.
Yeah, I've raised a few turkeys. I know the broad-breasted, they get big.
Well, once you get them out of the like a slight breeze will kill them phase, they're fucking bulletproof.
Oh yeah. Once you get them past the like first 2 months,
they're fine.
My turkeys right now are like, I want to say 7 months. No, they're older than that. They're got to be coming up on a year. They're laying,
right.
But they're just bronze. They're just the old fashioned bronze, but they're pretty good size. And freaking dog got a hold of one the other day.
Yeah,
didn't make it. And it sucked because I was like, it's tore up and off. I'm like, I'm not going to process this thing. Pig ate really good.
Yeah. See, poultry, I don't ever hesitate on pulling the trigger on them when it's like, if they're injured, it's like.
Yeah, it was just one of those. I think if
it's a pig or something that's hurt, like, okay, we'll take
I've seen them come back from way worse shit, if you take care of it. I've seen some pretty crazy shit. I think there was probably just a lung puncture that wasn't really super evident at the time. But it was also one of those, I was like, do I just process the damn thing and eat it? But it's the dog's been chewing on the thing. I don't really want to eat it myself. And I'm like, I don't want the thing to suffer, but it's like 50-50 right now. So
like when I cull egg birds,
I
don't process them. They go into compost. I don't.
No.
They're not worth it for me. Like I do so much.
They might turn into soup.
Maybe.
Maybe if I'm feeling extra roosters.
Like it's just not worth the time for me at this point.
Especially old laying hens, they don't have enough going on. Now my roosters, I've got a couple that I need to get culled, and they're tough, but they're worth making the soup out of because they're probably they'll probably be a 8-pound carcass.
Yeah, no, the roosters are fine.
Right. I've got Brahman naked neck crosses.
Ooh.
So they're pretty good size. They're like the size of Brahmas, but they're just
they had Brahmas at the store the other day, and it took me a minute to walk away from them. Yeah,
they're a good bird. They're slow growing, but the naked neck cross actually does give them a little hybrid vigor. They tend to grow and meet out a little bit faster, and they're also a lot more resistant to like heat and cold and disease.
That's nice.
Plus, the Brahmins have like a really nice temperament. They're just super chill. Yeah. I've never had them be. I haven't had a couple be kind of aggressive, but very rarely.
I haven't had birds at the same time as pigs yet. So no, I have not fed old birds to pigs.
I fed all kinds of stuff to my pigs. Now my
I was gonna
pigs,
say,
my
I'm
pigs
not
are my
against
pigs for my personal consumption, and I'm not worried about it. But my pigs have
Yeah.
ate everything from copperheads to raccoons to possums to.
Yeah. It is
No,
what
I
it
haven't
is.
fed any neighbors to them yet. So,
Yeah.
I've only got one pig currently right now, and that's just because he's kind of grown on me, and I also really don't want to have to process him right now because he's like a 4-year-old barrow that it's just one of those. He was a runt. He was
Yeah.
a blue butt.
Yeah.
And he grew like half the speed of all the rest of them. He was always kind of just lanky and skinny. I was like,
Right.
whatever. He can hang out with the other pigs. It's not really hurting me to have one more pig. Now he's the only one left, and he's like a puppy dog. And he's
Right.
finally filled out. And I'm like, he's going to probably end up being all sausage. He's old enough, but he's that one that every once in a while he'll get out of the pen. Then he comes walking up to you, trotting, like, "Hi, what's up?" And runs right back in the pen for some feed. Yeah. It's like a giant. Happy. He is like a 400-pound puppy dog. So I'm like, and the fact that he's like a 400-pound puppy dog also means I don't have a trailer, and he's at my house. And I'm like,
no, you're not fitting that. You're not fitting him in the Fiesta.
I could probably get him in here, but I've actually got to get him in here.
Right.
And I think it would, and this is crazy. This is where I've gone with it in my head. This is where I'm like, it would be easier for me to get him in here alive. And I'm like, I'm not shooting a pig in my car.
No. Well, no, you get him in there alive.
And I'm not driving, and I'm not hauling him.
Just get one of those. I drive a Subaru with all my dogs because no one really I can't find a man.
I'm just gonna end up having
that go over. Like they go in between the front back seat. So that way the dogs can't launch forward. You just get that in there, drive them to the shop.
I wonder if I can get one of the local cops to just let me use their canine unit.
I doubt it.
You never know, man.
No, I was going to give you the best. At the beginning of it, I was.
If I promised them half a pig, I guarantee I could make it happen.
No, I'm sure. I was planning on agreeing with you, whatever you said, because that's the funnier option. And then as soon as you said it, I'm like, "There's no way it's gonna happen."
No, it's not gonna. You would be surprised. You would be surprised. Yeah. But I think what'll end up happening is when I finally decide, all right, the time is here. It needs to happen. I'm just gonna bring home a hoist and set it up and just do it at the house.
Yeah.
Break it down. I'll quarter it up, ice chest and everything like that, and then just take it.
I was gonna say, even if you just quarter it, put it in the ice chest, and bring it to the shop the next.
That's what I'll do. That's what I'll end up having to do because it'll just be the manageable way to do it.
Right.
So. But it's one of them. I'm like, it's sort of like the culling all the extra roosters and stuff that are around. I'm like, it means I have to take a day to just come home and kill my own shit. And it's like anything else, it's always worse when you've got to go kill your own shit. Not that it's like harder. I mean, it's harder because it's your own, but it's more of that like, when I used to mow lawns, my lawn was never mowed because the last thing you want to do is come home and mow lawns.
That's
you ever notice that carpenter that's got the front porch that's like falling down because he works on shit all the time and he comes home and the last thing he wants to do is build another fucking porch. I don't want to come home and kill my own shit.
Vehicle.
Exactly.
Own vehicle, like
driving. It's just an old beater that's like falling apart. There's no oil in the fucking engine. He doesn't give a shit about it. Yeah.
Right. They're mechanics. They're great at their job. So they're keeping that piece of shit alive somehow.
Exactly.
They have Frankensteined it alive. You do not have the same set of skills that person has. You're not going to be able to do that.
Exactly. Oh yeah, he says he had a male duck that needed cold, and the pigs loved it. Yeah, the pigs are great at cleaning up anything else like that, man. That's why that's the other hesitation of why I haven't done this pig yet. It's because I have gotten so used to having pigs that I don't want to not have pigs. They're the perfect. I never feel guilty when I have leftovers that sit in the fridge for too long. And I'm like, I won't eat that. The pigs will love it though.
I'll never not have pigs again. When we originally started up here, I was like, beef. We're going to do a ton of beef. And now I have 3 cows, but they're for fun, really. One's going to be for us. Another one's like, I'll probably sell 1 or 2. But they're for me. I enjoy having them. I enjoy watching them.
Right.
And
if you're set up for it, though, pigs are so productive.
We're moving, honestly, everything into pigs. That is our big swing this next 2 years is we're setting everything up to pasture a shit ton of pigs.
if you're set up for it too, honestly, especially on the butchering end, where especially you start getting into hams and bacon and things like that, value added, you can make more money off of pigs than you can beef, for sure.
Yeah, no, we'll make our money. Like,
oh yeah,
same here. We have 3 breeders,
yep.
11 feeders at the moment. Yeah.
Yep. So what
I really like the Mangalitsa.
I really want to revamp it at some point. I want to to get the pasture area set up and fenced in that's going to be good pig tight. I'm not there yet. And I really also want to set up like good farrowing area. So I can just have some smaller breeds and actually do it right, not have to worry about it, have a good spot, have a pen there I can go and put something if I need to, like, I got an injured pig and I need to coordinate. I don't have that infrastructure set up where I need it right now. I've got a ramshackle pen with 1 pig left in it. I want to set that up and get a small, like, breeding pair or trio of pigs again, smaller breed, just to keep for me. And until I have that, I kind of don't want to have no pigs. I want to go to 0 pigs because there's so much use for having them around. So, and right now he's more used to me alive than he is dead. I don't have any need for meat in the freezer. So, things ever get really bad, he'll migrate to the freezer. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Tennessee permaculture. What are you picking up in the morning? What are you getting? A new little piggy?
Yep. I've got pigs in the woods too. I just got to go hunt them, trap them.
Right.
That's the other thing. There's enough folks around here that'll trap pigs. It's not usually that hard for me to keep my freezer full if I do the work.
I'm sure.
So, yeah. I haven't shot a deer in like 3 years because I'll get free pork.
Yeah. What does he got? Fire in the woods, not in the pasture. I have 2 jerseys and a beef on the pasture. Nice.
Yep. Pigs do great in the woods, especially if you got lots of.
Oh, they do fantastic.
Mass crop.
Yeah, mine is definitely more pasture than anything for sure.
Yeah,
but I'm hoping to change that a little bit. I'd love to get some bigger oaks, like saplings, planted in there and stuff like that. So over time, those can start putting out mass.
Hardest part for me is everywhere I've got woods, I've also got really deep ass creeks, and you trying to fence pigs from going through a creek. That's really tricky. Yeah. Fencing the woods to begin with is tricky, and interesting. And all it takes is, I promise you, if one limb falls and takes your fence out, those pigs will just like instantly know. It's like radar.
They'll know.
There's a breach into the fences. They're gone. But then, if you've got big creeks, they're going to get down in that water and you can't fence it off enough. And then the first big rain you get, that's a gully washer. It's going to fuck up whatever you did fence it with. It's down. You can't even keep cows in when you have deep creeks like that. So it just hasn't made sense for me to fence off a big area for the pigs out in the woods. I would love to, though. That's like my dream of running pigs just in the woods,
No, that'd be awesome. 14. That's awesome. I pray for that.
Boy, that is great.
Yeah. I pray for that. Yeah, that's because I'm going through it right now with it, like the breeding these pigs, and it hasn't gone great. And of course, I'm also not doing it like, all right, we're gonna take 2 of the same breed and figure it out. Or I'm doing the crossbreed stuff and older boar, young gilts. Yeah. Like it's interesting.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
We're figuring it out. But
you learn a lot with it. You adapt and find what works for you.
Exactly. And it's like, I am planning on doing winter pigs, so that's why we're tossing the Ospa and the Mangalitsa in there. I mean, my Herefords did great, but
pigs surprisingly do pretty well.
They do super well. But I want to add something that has better hair cover. It gives them a little extra added protection going into the winter, and something that puts on a little more fat to again
help through the winter.
Warm. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We're gonna be doing it this year, whether I want to or not. So
worst case scenario, you end up with a lot of bacon.
Yeah. Yeah. So we will see.
Oh, shit.
All right. Well, we're at an hour and a half. So
I was just saying, I'm about to probably roll it here in a bit here. So
absolutely. So pretty sure everyone in here knows where to find you, but if you just want to shout out the big ones.
Yeah. I mean, check out renegadebutcher.com. That pretty much can get you everywhere to find my stuff. You should be able to find my podcast anywhere you can find your podcasts. Just Renegade Butcher. I'm on YouTube, all the places. So I'm to my knowledge, I am the only Renegade Butcher right now on the internet. So if you find Renegade Butcher, it's probably me. If you find somebody that's Renegade Butcher and not me, let me know so I can go beat them up.
Well, obviously, if you're on this channel right now, you know I have a YouTube channel. So if you are not subscribed, please like and subscribe.
Yes.
And I am everywhere else. I don't
go hit that like button, people. There's still like 5 people watching. Go hit that damn like button.
Yeah,
come on,
hit the button. Hit the button.
Hit the button.
No, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Nostr. Obviously, I don't know my Nostr pub key by heart, but you can find me everywhere else.
I would be impressed if you did.
Huh?
I would be impressed if you did.
If I just Rain Manned it out right now.
Oh,
just
dude,
like,
that'd be great. If you put that what I sent you the other day, that NIP5 in there or whatnot, people can actually search by that too.
Oh, all right. I completely forgot you did that, so I need to go do that.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, it doesn't work every time, but it does work most of the time. Yeah.
But Josh, I appreciate you coming on. I'm sure this probably won't be the last time you're on for one of these in the Backwoods sections.
I'm sure you'll see me around. Little backdoor sessions. Yep.
Yeah. Nope, that's not what I said.
Yeah, we'll say hi to Brian for you in the morning. He's got a feed in the morning, so he'll miss it. Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah, man. All right.
Sounds good, buddy. All right. Then we
catch
will
you all
go
later.
ahead and end this now. Thanks. I apologize. None of you got to meet the critter.